Hey everyone, welcome to the Catholicpreneur podcast. I'm your host, Mitch Fisher. Today, I'm really excited to invite the guys from Incensum in. Whoops, bumping the camera here. There we go. Still kind of working on this setup. I might be moving my office around a little bit, but we're really excited to bring these guys in because we've been talking about doing a podcast here for a while. Many of you, especially if you follow me on Twitter or are involved in Twitter or X, you probably have seen Incensum in their account. They do really well with interacting with their fans there and kind of building that following on Twitter. So really excited to have this conversation. Before we dive in with them, I do want to ask a question. What's your favorite way to unwind in the evening as a entrepreneur, as a Catholic? What's your favorite way to unwind? What do you do in the evening, especially if you're a husband and a father? How do you balance your role there, your vocation, but also taking time for holy leisure, taking time to really relax? Because holy leisure is an important thing, but we kind of as a society struggle with it. I know I struggle with it a lot. It is surprisingly not an easy thing to do, to just relax when you are working, when you're providing, when you're doing different things, hobbies, all kinds of fun stuff. So
I'm digging John Paul, the great behind you there, Mitch.
thank you. Yeah, no, I got that for Christmas from my parents a couple years back. They found this like nice canvas. I thought it would make for a good background on here. I got Saint Joseph over here, Saint John Paul II over here. So yeah,
Nice.
cool. Well, let's dive in. I just want to hear from you both, JJ and Shay. If you just want to introduce yourselves, what you do, and talk about Incensum, and yeah, just who are you? What do you do?
Good. So you always go first.
Yeah, all right. So a little bit about us. So Shay, we live in Edmond, Oklahoma. I've lived pretty much all over the United States growing up. I lived in 7 different states before the age of 15. Cradle Catholic, so Mass on Sundays, sacramentalized, but maybe not catechized. Till we got to Oklahoma, dove into our faith. Have a beautiful parish, St. Monica's, 24/7 adoration, and so I spent a lot of time in there. When we moved here, one of the first people that we met was the Padula family. So we didn't know anybody, and they were very gracious to welcome us to Oklahoma and St. Monica's. And man, really, after the first time we met at Owen's first birthday party, it was just kind of off to the running from there. We became really good friends. So we'll get into a little bit of how Incensum came about after JJ introduces himself and his background.
Yeah. So JJ Padula, from here at Edmond, Oklahoma. My wife and I have 5 beautiful kids. So yeah, Cradle Catholic as well. Spent most of my 20s just really grinding at my job. I'm very blessed to have a good job there. But over the last couple of years, as I entered my 30s, had this kind of, I guess, desire to do something, both for myself and with like sort of a Catholic bent to it. I see other guys on social media and stuff doing that kind of thing, having Catholic business, and it was just something that I really felt the Holy Spirit was calling me to do. But yeah, so just a regular dude here in Edmond, Oklahoma. I think I've told you this before, Mitch. My wife is from Nebraska.
Yeah.
Big Catholic family up in Kearney, the Vavlekas. But yeah, so not far from where you are.
Yeah. No, that's super cool because I remember we had that conversation. We both know Bishop Hannafelt.
Yeah.
and he's been really close with our family. Really great bishop. So we've been blessed to know him. So I think that's a cool connection that we have there. But anytime you're in the area, let me know and we'll have to connect. So
yeah, he actually Bishop Joe is what we call him, but he actually submitted a bunch of those questions that we initially got going with the QR codes. So
okay, very cool.
he helped us with that, yeah. But
Nice.
great guy. And at a time where we need good leaders, he seems like a really, really strong man. So yeah, we're lucky to know him.
Definitely. Yeah. No, that's good. Tell me about the early days of Incensum. How did you guys kind of start to build awareness around what you were doing? It's not an easy thing to do. I think you've done it really well. How did that all go?
Go ahead, Jay.
So the idea came from a joke between myself and a buddy down in Houston. And he's not a cigar smoker, but he was going to a cigar lounge with one of his customers. And so he was doing some, just a little bit of research online of like, what's the lingo? What should I order? So he didn't look like a moron, right? In front of his customer. But he was kind of just like, dude, all these names and there's vitolas and different cuts, and we just started saying like, man, what if we developed our own brand, our own line, and it was just like an everyman cigar. It's nothing intimidating. It's nothing with a fancy name, but it's just an everyman's everyday cigar that would connect with blue collar guys. And so we kind of just slapstick comedy going off on a tangent. And then later that week, after that conversation, JJ called and said, I'm looking at a hot side hustle. I don't know if it's going to be rental properties. I don't know if we're going to do flip, but I want to do something else to extra income. And I told him about our joke. And JJ was all about it. He's like, dude, that's a fantastic idea. Let's start our own cigar brand. And if you know JJ, man, like he's all in. He's either all in or all out. And so when he had it in his mind that that's what he wanted to do, like 48, 72 hours later, he was diving in on, man, what does it take to develop a brand? He's already researching. He's watching YouTube videos. He's trying to find guys online that do bands and do, packaging. And so it was a bit of a whirlwind between just this joke and then getting JJ involved and saying, no, this is it. This is what we're going to do. And we're off to the run. So he can kind of tell you about the name, the idea. And, JJ's idea was like, dude, we can do this, but like, let's have an evangelization piece with it. And so he'll talk to you about like the QR code and who we want to reach. And so it was really cool to go from the idea in September to launching it in February.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was fast, furious, quick, but I'm glad we've done it so far. It's been a blessing. It has been a lot of fun to do. We've learned a lot and continuing to learn a lot through the 6 months that we've been doing this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Remind me your question again. How do you get a cigar company started? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I'm curious too, like how you went about. So obviously, you've done a really good job building awareness around what you've done. And to Shay's point, turning around September to February, having something to sell is incredible. Tell me about like your approach to building awareness around this so quickly.
Well, a big part of it, and even a big like genesis for doing this company in the first place was seeing other Catholic entrepreneurs, like for example Trevor with the Trinity Brewing Company, seeing those guys and realizing like, okay, you need a good product, you need a really good product, and then you need to focus on social media on really just like sharing good Catholic content and letting people know what you're about, letting people know that you're striving for holiness. And, hopefully the business comes. Because if you take a good product on the one hand and you're striving to be a good person, then hopefully people can resonate with other people. And one of the things that Shay and I did is, because neither of us have ever started a company, we kind of we read a book. I can't remember what it was called, but it was something about being a startup or a hustle and that kind of thing. And one of the things it said is like you know make it simple and know your target audience. There's a shotgun and there's a rifle, and you need to know exactly who you're targeting, and then just really cater to that person. And in a world where Catholic men are not being marketed to, they're not being catered to. I mean, that's what we really wanted to do. And one of the things I was missing in my 20s that I really have tried to fulfill in my 30s is like real friendships. Guys are working their asses off. They're working hard. They're in their career. Um, what can lend itself to good, true fellowship and like good relaxation that are necessary means for men. And so that's when we started. When he said the cigar thing, I was, as a joke, I was like, bro, that is, I mean, because for me, my history of that is, my grandpa and my uncles and my dad all sitting around a campfire having a real solid, like, you have brothers, and is it one of your brothers
Mm-hmm.
is in the seminary, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you're a Catholic guy. You've done the same thing, and you've seen that the fruits of those conversations, and um, so I think that's really sorely missed in our culture is good, true conversations. Um, and so yeah, so the real I guess to put some color on the general idea is like, okay, so if you have a really good product, and you're telling everybody who you are, what you're about, people are going to start catching on, and it really has. I mean, um, to go like Shay said, from idea a year ago to product in February to where we're at now. I mean, we've done really well, and still working to see what's next and where we go from here. But we're both very
Mm-hmm.
pleased with how everything's gone so far.
That's awesome. That's really good to hear. And yeah, I've been enjoying following your journey on Twitter. What's kind of the most practical tip you could give to another Catholic entrepreneur trying to start a business or a brand specifically, um, utilizing social media? Again, I think you guys are doing like a really good job. Like, what's the most practical takeaway that other people might benefit from?
Um, I guess the biggest advice I would give is number one, make sure you have some like a good product to sell. Because it stays trying to sell something that's not any good. And that was kind of the first thing we did is like Shay said, we went online and we tried to figure out how to make a blend, what it takes. Like, are we gonna be how can we make a good product without flying down to Guatemala and trying to figure it out? Um, and luckily, we kind of stumbled across a micro manufacturer of cigars. So similar to like, they have the micro brewers for beer. And those are some of your best beers you can get your hands on. Uh, the guy in Tulsa actually was invited onto the Catholic Man Show, I think, or the Catholic Gentleman, one of the two. They're both from Tulsa, so I get conflated. But
Yeah, I think it was
um,
Catholic Gentleman.
Catholic Gentleman, yeah. So, I stumbled across him, and right at the time we were trying all these other cigars that were really, really bad. And we got with him, and he created our own blend, and it's a huge difference from what you can just pick up in the store, especially when it's rolled right there, and then he hands it to you. It's pretty awesome. But the biggest advice I could give someone starting out, definitely number one, have a good product. And then number two, like, I think don't focus necessarily. One thing I stole from Trevor with Trinity Brewing is don't necessarily only focus on the product. I mean, if people want to know about your product, they're gonna find your product, they're gonna learn about it. You gotta make that accessible, and maybe we could do a better job with that. But the biggest thing is just show them who you are, show them what you're about, and developing a following on there, just based off of how you're living your Catholic lifestyle, how you're living out your vocation and that kind of thing. And so that's what I've done. It's just on X at least, just try to put that kind of stuff out there.
Definitely. That's good. What's your favorite cigar that you guys sell?
So mine is, and it's kind of funny. So the day we went to like actually decide of the curated ones, like we smoked both of them. So we have two ones, the silver and the copper. And the copper is a Connecticut wrapper. It's very similar to the silver, but it kind of has like a undertone of raisin. It's a little bit, it almost is a little bit lighter than the silver. And maybe I'm saying this because it's summertime, but that's kind of been my go-to here lately. So I'm curious to see what Shay says.
Yeah, look, they're both really good. You can't really go wrong with the blends that we've selected and curated, but they are a little bit seasonal. So to JJ's point, you got summertime, you're at the pool, something a little bit lighter, a little bit sweeter, a little bit creamier. That's going to be the Connecticut for sure. And then we have the Habano, which is darker, a little more, a little heavier, still very well balanced. But that's my favorite. And that one, you can definitely see yourself winter, fall, cool nights on the patio with a bunch of buddies. So you're not going to go wrong with one of them. But if I've got to pull one off the shelf right now, I'm going with silver.
So, all right. What's been the coolest thing that's come out from this? Like maybe a story you heard, or just something that's really surprised you that came about just from starting this?
So the coolest thing for me, when we started this, and we had the concept and we were building out the financials around it, and JJ and I had a discussion. Man, this is a side hustle. This is a for-profit. The coolest thing for me is going to be the first time that we get to. And so that's been a focus of ours is giving back. So we've got a quarterly goal, and we're going to give back. And we've already done that. So we did a $500 gift in the name of our priest at St. Monica's to the St. John endowment, and that's for priestly formation. Right, and so the coolest thing for me is watching this grow, watching people buy our cigars and enjoy our cigars and share our story online. But us giving back is the coolest thing for me. And I want people that buy our product to understand and to know. Like we are going to find Catholic charities to give to, and so every time you buy a cigar, you've got a little piece of mind that hey, look, I'm buying a good product, but a little bit of the proceeds from every cigar that I buy is going to go to a good cause.
I love that.
Yeah, and to be able to do that was, I remember driving Shay's truck to the meeting, and he told us it was our blender, and I remember him saying that, like, man, the biggest thing, like the most exciting thing for me is going to be able to do that tithe, that quarterly tithe, and to do that with, after the first, I think, 3 months, to give $500 to our parish, our pastor, and for the seminaries. I thought that was pretty cool as well. For me personally, the coolest thing that's happened, again, just from sharing kind of like my Catholic lifestyle on there, one of the priests that follows us saw that I was trying to figure out what gift to give my 7-year-old after he received his first Holy Communion, and he took his preparation very seriously. He's a really smart kid, and he dove into his catechesis, and I was really proud of him. But anyways, one of the priests actually sent a first-class relic with Thomas Aquinas for us to keep here at the house.
Wow.
So that really has been. I've talked about it before. I'm really excited about that. This year it's already been a huge blessing for us. This year we were contemplating whether or not to send my oldest son to school, and anyway, we said I know we needed to Thomas Aquinas, patron saint of students, and man, he's big time in our prayers. So yeah, so that's probably the coolest thing that's happened so far.
That's really neat. Yeah. I do find, especially on Twitter, there's just so much value in having doing what you guys do, like talking about the faith and just having conversations, starting conversations, building connections. Like it can be a really good place, despite all the negativity that happens with social media. I think you guys really balance that really well in a way that's built a lot of community. So congrats on that. Where can people find you and keep up with what you're doing?
I mean, so we're on X, we're on Instagram, and then we have a website. And all those three places will lead you to the place you can purchase the cigars. If you're trying to keep up with us, like what we're doing and stuff, I handle the X account. Shay's not a huge social media guy, but he handles the Instagram. So yeah, we're on there, but yeah, I guess that would be how I answer that.
Yeah. I'll be sure to put that in the show notes too. So for all the listeners, be sure to check them out especially on X. I follow you guys on X a lot. Follow them on X, Instagram, the website I'll link as well. But Shay, JJ, thank you so much for taking the time to chat. It's been really good to meet you, and wish you well as you continue building this out.
Hey, thanks, guys. I really appreciate your content too, and what you're all about as well. I think just one little quick thing. I think that what you're doing is needed. Catholics, we have to be, I guess, shrewd as vipers, right? We have to still, function in the workplace, still function in this economy, and so, I appreciate that. You're have a voice for those Catholic entrepreneurs and those Catholic businessmen, because it's a need. It is a huge need. It's going to be even bigger need moving forward. So yeah, I see you grinding on the coffee shop on Saturday morning.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's been such a joy, such a fun time. I'm actually coming up on a year almost of running this podcast, so really excited to kind of keep going, keep pushing forward. So I appreciate that.
You got St. Joseph on your side, so you're good to go, man.
Yes, thank you. St. Joseph, pray for us.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Rich.